welcome to a new video about public transportation in Sicily. In September 2024, my boyfriend and I, we decided to go to Sicily, Italy for summer vacation. The weather was still perfect at the end of September. We spent 9 beautiful days there and it was a perfect combination of adventure and relaxation in my opinion. We both love trains, so we decided to only take public transportation, and also I've heard from people who have recently been there and they rented a car that it's A, difficult to find parking, and B, pretty dangerous small roads, and Italians drive like crazy. Sorry if you're an Italian watching this. I've also uploaded a more aesthetic vlog or elaborate vlog about our trip there, so if you want to watch that one, make sure to click on the button somewhere here to go and watch that one too. But let's get on to the video. The 9 days that we stayed there from Saturday till Sunday, and we basically saw most of the northern part of Sicily. I know there are also train connections to the southern part, and I have heard that the south is also beautiful, but that will be for another time for us. I'm assuming that not everybody is gonna fly from London Gatwick to Catania, so I'm gonna leave out the flights out of the price equation, but we flew into Catania as our first destination. From the airport we took the Alibus into the center. Alibus is a bus that is just there and it was €4. To be honest, we thought it was quite difficult to find the bus, even though it was right outside the airport, but that's probably mainly on us. It took about 20 minutes to get from the airport to the center. The bus did drop us off in an awkward place. It was very busy, full of cars, quite a dangerous spot to stop with your bus. And then we had to cross the roads, and there wasn't a crossroads, but we did make it. And then it took us about a 15-minute walk to reach the really city center. We spent one night in Catania, and the next morning when we woke up and had to check out from our Airbnb, we decided to put our bags in a backdrop. There are multiple around Catania, you can find them just by Googling them. After that, we further explored the city. Day one. What do you think of Catania?
It's lovely, lots of nice old buildings, like the one you see there. Yeah, very surprised. Heard amazing things about it, but it's really exceeded expectations.
So I actually think I'll give it 8. I would say 8.5, but I feel like that's going too high. Just because I think a day here is enough. You don't need more than a day. Except
do 2 days.
Okay,
2 days.
2 days. Maybe if you want to do an Etna excursion too.
Yeah. Then nice. Do 3.
Yeah. So in a few hours we'll leave Catania and we'll take a bus, which we booked already a few months ago. It's called Vita bus. It was very cheap. I'll put the price here because I don't remember. And it's gonna take it 3 hours to get to Agrigento. So we'll arrive in the evening in the dark. I'm hopeful that we can still get some views, and it's just incredibly cheap. So I'm curious how it's gonna be. At some backstory, there was no train connection from Catania to Agrigento, so that's why we're doing the bus. And then the rest of the trip we're doing by train. The bus wasn't going as frequently in a day. I think it was once a day.
Yeah.
Once a day in the evening.
A couple of different options, but yeah, it wasn't that many.
Or at least for the ones that we took, because there's another bus brand probably. So we further explored a little bit. We got our bags and went towards the bus stop. The bus stop is near the center, but it is still a 20 to 30 minute walk towards there. It's very near to the central station of Catania. We took an Ita bus and we absolutely loved it because we could actually track where the bus was on the website by using the bus number. And it's a bus that actually comes all the way, I think from Rome even, so from the mainland into Sicily all the way to Agrigento. We only paid €4.99 each and it took 2.5 hours. In my opinion, that's crazy because it's a distance of 160 kilometers and it dropped us off right in the center of Agrigento. There's plugs and it's like a really modern bus. It has everything you need. We woke up in Agrigento and also just spent one night there. So we checked out and then also tried to find a backdrop because we loved the backdrop in Catania so much. Really useful, heavy bags aren't nice, even though we were only traveling with a backpack. I still recommend dropping off your bag. In Agrigento, the backdrops were much harder to find. Every time we tried to Google it and tried to find it, we couldn't find it. Maybe they weren't open. It wasn't showing. So we decided to ask a little cafe in the neighborhood if we could leave our bags there, and they were so kind to accept it. We had some quick breakfast and walked down towards the train station because that's also where the bus stop is, to take a public bus to the Valley of the Temples, which is outside of Agrigento center because it is a valley of temples. So it makes sense. However, we were very confused at the beginning which bus we had to take, and it's either the 1- or the 2- that you can take. When we were waiting, there were a lot of people waiting there, and a taxi actually came by. We decided to step into the taxi because he was offering seats to multiple people in his like minivan for €3 per person. So he drove us towards the Valley of the Temple. It just took about 15 minutes, I would say, and you have a nice view. We're now I forgot what I wanted to say. Wait, stop. We're now at the showstopper of Agrigento, the temples. These date back very far in time.
This temple is over almost 2,500 years old, and yet look at its condition.
Why do you think the rounds are on there? The circles around the beam.
I think it's probably a repair. It's a column, by the way. After some exploration of the Valley of the Temples, which I highly recommend, there's a lot of history there, we decided to take the bus back. This time it was much easier to see which bus we could take. We took the bus back to the city center. It dropped us off at the same point as we started, and it was €1.70 each. And the nice thing is they come quite often, so you don't actually have to wait for a long time to get back to the center. We had our lunch, we got our bags quickly, and now we're gonna catch the 3:12 train. We caught a train to Palermo, to the capital of Sicily. This train was about €11.50 and it took about 2 hours to get from Agrigento inland towards Palermo. The trains are modern, you have outlets to charge your phone, they're spacious and clean. The views are also incredible from the train, so we were happy to have made the choice to take the train rather than the car. When arriving in Palermo, the station is also central. However, Palermo is bigger, so depending on where you're staying in Palermo, you might have to take a bus or any other form of transportation towards your accommodation. However, we walked. For us, I think it was about a 30-minute walk towards our Airbnb. We spent 2 nights in Palermo and absolutely loved it. It's a vibrant, active city with a lot of things to do. There's a lot of culture. There is nightlife, restaurant, bars, everything you can imagine. For those who want, you can also even go to beaches in the neighborhood. We didn't do that, but there's possibilities for that, and you can also reach that by bus. On the 3rd day in Palermo, we left our Airbnb, got our bags, got some lunch. However, then it started pouring heavily. And I don't think the infrastructure of Sicily is made for heavy rainfall because the water was just everywhere. We did want to catch our train, so we decided to just go through it. And we went, but we were drenched. We are recording live from Palermo Central Station. There is an alarm going off. An alarm for disruption. Scores of trains cancelled. Many people's travel plans lie in disruption.
Because it's raining. Stay tuned to see if we can catch the next train or not to go to Cefalù. The sun has started shining. Also, an important note, you do have to validate your tickets before going onto the train. So you have to insert them in a certain ticket machine before going on the train. Otherwise, your tickets aren't valid even though you've paid. The next destination we went to is Cefalù, which was my favorite in my opinion. And the train tickets from Palermo to Cefalù were €7.10. The train ride to Cefalù took about 1 hour, and the train station of Cefalù is close to the city center but not in the center. It only took about 15 minutes to walk from the train station to our Airbnb, which was right in the center, right by the beaches. It was such a great location. We spent about 3 nights in Cefalù. The beaches are great, it is a busy place, but it feels so peaceful, and the sunsets are just, they are incredible. You can paddle on the water, you can hike up the rock. My favorite restaurant also there, as a little tip, was El Faro. Their pasta was so good, so I highly recommend going there. Sadly, our Cefalù journey did come to an end, so back to the train station we went. Hello guys, something exciting happened. Yesterday we were seeing how we would go to our next destination, which was Messina. So our normal plan was to go from Cefalù to Messina by train, but then we decided why not also make a pit stop on one of the Aeolian Islands, which is north of Sicily. There's a group of islands there, and we looked into it, and this morning we woke up very early to take the train to Milazzo, which is between Cefalù and Messina, and we took a train to there. This was 16 euros, but it was far from Milazzo, and we wanted to go to the port of Milazzo, so we took a taxi for 7.5 euros each. And then we took the ferry, which we booked then, just there in the place. And it was 28 euros each. We took the ferry to Lipari, which is one of the Aeolian Islands. We're just finished with having dinner or lunch here. And then tonight we're taking the ferry back to Messina. We strolled around and we tried to find a beach. It was my lifelong dream to just swim on an Aeolian Island, I don't know how to pronounce it. So we decided to walk around, find a little beach, and we found a volcanic black rock beach, which was very quiet and peaceful. Where are we now, Matthew?
We're at the Black Beach in, where are we? Lipari.
There are about 7 Aeolian islands, and you can make it your whole trip to just island hop between island from island. The ferries are very well connected and run quite often. We decided to take the ferry back towards Messina, which is right next to mainland Italy, but still on the island of Sicily. The boat was super quick. It took about 2.5 hours. I love boats, and this one was especially cool because it was a hydrofoil boat, so it just went like whoop up a little bit on the water, and this ferry ride cost about 26 euros for us to go back. It was also really cool to see the island from afar and sail away. Sail between Sicily, the island, and mainland Italy also when you arrive. Even this ferry that we took made a stop at mainland Italy and then went to the other side to Messina. In Messina, the next probably longest suspension bridge in the world will be built between Italy, mainland, and Sicily, the island. So it was quite cool to also see it from the ferry where that would be located. Messina was actually our last spot. We spent one night in Messina. It seemed like a vibrant city and we just had great food. We strolled around in the morning and then went towards the train station. We're here now at the station of Messina Centrale behind me, waiting for the train to take to Catania. Either we'll go to Catania Central and then take bus, or we'll just directly go to Catania Airport. Messina has been really lovely. Honestly, I wish we had more time here. But all in all, we found it pretty difficult to find the correct timetables for the trains. So sometimes Trainline would show the right ones, sometimes Google would show them. But in this case, to get to Catania, nothing was correct. Was to go to the website of the Trenitalia, which is the Italian national train website. There it was quite difficult to navigate the website, and the only thing that helped was looking for the timetable of the station basically, and then we did find the trains that go to Catania. So let's take the train. The train ride from Messina to Catania was by far the prettiest that we have seen on the island. All train rides in Sicily were beautiful. You either have a view of the sea or inland. It's just gorgeous, but this one, breathtaking. You continuously have a view on the sea, of the toe of Italy as well, and depending on where you're seated on the train, perhaps you can see the Etna too. This train ride from Messina to Catania Airport, where we were heading, was about 19 euros 40 each and took about 1 hour and 45 minutes. For Messina, you can either choose to take a train towards Catania Centrale, which is in the center of Catania, but we decided to take a train to Catania Airport. There is a train station right by the airport, and it also connects the south. So whenever you get to the station of Catania Airport, you can either take a bus, but we've decided to follow the people and walk 15 minutes hopefully. We have read that they're building more tunnels on Sicily to actually make the train rides faster and more reliable, and to connect more cities by rail. It was quite inconvenient that on our trip we had to take a bus from Catania to Agrigento, as I think by train it would be much faster, and a train is just so nice, isn't it? Also, regarding the tunnels, I would actually recommend going to Sicily as soon as possible, because I do think the connections would be great if they're even more reliable, but they're already pretty reliable now, and now you have a great view on the sea, so it would be a shame to miss out on the views that the trains currently have on Sicily. And if they would go underground, I think it would be a bit less charming. We also learned that you can actually take a sleeper train from Milan to Palermo. So if you're looking to visit many places, perhaps you can take a sleeper. It just sounds so cool. You cross the entirety of Italy, go to Sicily on a train. That's so cool. And I'm sure you can actually fit in other places in your itinerary if you have a bit more time or spend less time in some places and more in others. For instance, there's still Taormina, Syracuse in the south, the Etna. We would have actually loved to do a train ride around the Etna, the volcano. There is a possibility to do that, but we looked into it and sadly they were working on a connection or a part on the train line, so we couldn't do that this time, unfortunately. But it literally goes all around the Etna and you just have a beautiful view, and I would have loved to do that. We absolutely love this trip. On transportation, we spent a total of 129 euros per person over 9 days, which I think is fairly good. Please let me know if you have any comments or questions, and I thank you so much for watching. And as a big FYI, the best view on the Etna we had actually from the airport and from the plane in the air. So definitely keep your eyes out when you're there. And have a great rest of your day. Bye!
A wild creature on the train. If you do come here, bring your inhaler, enough water, and a hat. Is there something else I'm forgetting?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Whee!